All right, here we go. Top of the morning, top of the evening, excuse me, top of the night, whatever time zone. Let me turn this off. Whatever time zone you are on, we are live. Hello, everybody. Let's remember this. If we can look up, we can get up. If we can get up, we can go up. You see the title. And a moment of silence for all those who have lost their lives, to the families in Buffalo, New York, to the families in California at the church shooting today. Condolences definitely go out into all other people in the United States of America who have lost their lives, as well as globally. So let's remember this. If we can look up, we can get up. If we can get up, we can go up. You see the title. Bandaides on mass shootings in America. We need Supreme Court justices to hush. And we need Congress to enforce subpoenas. So with that being said, let's get to this music, and we're going to get off into this because it's definitely a lot going on in the land. And again, condolences to all those who lost their lives. Apologies. Again, a condolences to all those who lost their lives. Okay. So let's get to these shootings in Buffalo, New York. Let's get to this mass shootings. Let's get to these mass shootings. Let's get to these extreme mass shootings by white supremacists, by white extremists. Let's get to these shootings by terrorists in the United States of America. Let's talk about this Band-Aid put on mass shootings in the United States of America. We can keep having the conversation, but until we as a nation deal with the realities of the situation, that this country has some ideologies that are old and ancient, rooted in racism, discriminations, and people assuming that they are superior, then it's just going to be that, a conversation. Okay, so no need for people to pontificate. I was watching this yesterday on someone else's live stream on YouTube, and I was thinking, this cannot be real, knowing that I reside in the United States of America. So it indeed was real. And yes, P. Legal, this mass shooter already was exhibiting signs. And so here we go. Visuals, prayers, services, and rallies were held across the city Sunday after authorities said a teenage gunman wearing tactical gear and live stream cameras killed 10 people and wounded 3 more in a hate-fueled shooting rampage at a busy supermarket. So this happened in Buffalo, New York yesterday. 11 of the 13 people who were shot at Tops Friendly Market were Black. So 11 of the 13 people who were shot yesterday were Black. Buffalo Police Commissioner Joseph Gramala said the suspect, who was taken into custody at the scene, is white. The FBI is investigating the shooting as a hate crime and racially motivated violent extremism. So no need to pontificate about that. And we're going to find out why. The suspect, Peyton Jordan, 18, was charged with murder, and officials said they will weigh additional charges in the coming days. So he was charged with murder, first-degree murder, and terrorism. This individual came here with the express purpose of taking many as many Black lives as he could, Buffalo Mayor Byron Brown said in the news conference on Sunday. And again, this is unfortunately not new in America. Um, this society has a habit of putting band-aids on situations instead of dealing with situations at the root, from the root. So it is, and I want to talk about something Eric Holder said, which I agree with. People were saying, hey, Leroy, how you doing? People were saying, he's not from our community. So former General Attorney Eric Holder was on the news earlier, and he said, what do we mean he's not from our communities? He is from the community. He's from the community of the United States of America's citizens. Yes, he is. So don't say he's not from communities. Yeah, he's from the U.S. community. Yes, he is. So again, and I asked the question on my community wall, did the Buffalo police forget how to shoot yesterday? Let me say it again. Did the Buffalo police forget how to, the ones who was on active duty at that shooting, did they forget how to shoot yesterday? I just want to know, because it's no need to pontificate whether or not he was a murderer. He had already killed people. I mean, 10 people are dead. He had already shot 13 plus people. But you can get somebody who's African American or rich in color, or you consider a minority, and I don't like the word minority when it comes to human beings. You can get them at a traffic stop. You can go in their house unarmed and kill them. Again, let me ask the question. Did the Buffalo police officers who were on active duty, who were assigned to the scene yesterday, what, did y'all forget how to shoot? No need for pontification. Oh no, he was detained, okay? And is still alive after murdering 10 Black people, shooting 2 white people. Stop playing in the United States of America. We always want to put a band-aid on situations instead of dealing with situations at the root. If we would have dealt with this a long time ago, we wouldn't probably be here having this conversation today. I just got a question. Did they forget how to shoot or what? I just want to know. Leroy, you said you speechless? I'm not. I'm not speechless. Okay. So the 18-year-old who murdered the 18-year-old terrorist, domestic terrorist from the United States of America, who murdered 10 Black people yesterday, he already had a history. Okay. He had already threatened an attack at his high school last year, resulting in a referral for a mental health evaluation. A law enforcement official told USA Today on Sunday the incident was reviewed by state authorities at that time. The official, who was not authorized to comment publicly, said the suspect parents were cooperating with the authorities. So here we go again. Mass shootings in the United States of America. Supremacist, extremist, terrorist. a group of white men in the United States of America who were taught that they were a supreme and superior race, because that's what he was going to root out. He was tired, according to the evidence, and we will let the record show as they relinquish more evidence coming from the FBI, that when the manifesto, which is thoroughly investigated and authenticated, will show that he wanted to root out, he was tired of other races. He wanted to rid the nation of other races because he came from a superior race. And again, United States always want to put Band-Aids on situations instead of dealing with the situation. And that's why we are still in this situation today, because if they would have dealt with slavery appropriately, we would probably not be having this conversation. Okay. And then he had writing on the semi-automatic weapons. He had writings on there. I mean, come on. There is no way he should have even had his hands on a gun. Stop playing. We've seen this in Michigan with the mass shootings in Oxford, Michigan. We've seen it there. We've seen it with Kyle Rittenhouse. Stop playing at protests. Come on. Quit playing. And then people want to sit around and pontificate like they don't understand what's happening. Yes, you do. Slavery happened over here. And we have never as a nation dealt with the root of slavery. They always want to be on surface, but you don't want to go deep down to the root of the situation. You want to put a Band-Aid on a situation. And for years, United States of America has put Band-Aids on mass shootings and murders in the United States of America. Period. Period. And so that's why we end up with this. Oh, go ahead, Leroy. But you know, it's just, you know what? Okay. So federal agents interviewed Gerondin's parents and are working to confirm the authenticity of 108 page 180 page manifesto that was posted online. Law enforcement officials told the Associated Press on Sunday the manifesto detailed the plot. So here we have premeditation, premeditated murder, premeditated terrorism, premeditated extreme supremacist, premeditated, and identified the gunman who was 18 years old, and I'm saying that by his name, talking about they're not authorized to publicly discuss the details of the investigation. However, better believe people already have scoured his social media sites, period. And again, mass shootings in the United States of America, and why we want to put a Band-Aid on it. We can go back to Columbine. We can go back to the Sandy Hook shootings. It's so many mass shootings that happened in the United States of America. We can go shooting after shooting after shooting after shooting, which is not new. But the root starts from, let's go back to slavery, where the mass shootings, hosing people down, Black people down specifically, tearing them asunder with horses, driving them, tying them, chaining them to trucks, and dragging them down dirt roads. Come on, let's deal with the root of the situation. Let's deal with the reality of the situation and the fact that the United States of America has never dealt with racism like they should have. They want to put a Band-Aid on it, because if they really wanted to deal, reparations would have been a done deal a long time ago. If they really wanted to deal, the laws that we have on these books that's considered slave states in the United States of America would not be there. They really don't want to deal as a nation. We really don't want to deal. We want to put a Band-Aid on everything. And then we wonder, well, how is this happening? And then we have the audacity to get these lying, lunatic, Looney Tune, lascivious leaders who are extremely hypocritical. We don't want to deal. We don't want to deal. United States don't want to deal as a nation. They just want to hold their nose, and move on. Just want to hold our noses and move on. P Legal Intel, you said Portland professor wrote an article in 2016 in regards to mass shootings and racial chattery slavery, colonialism, and white supremacist patriarchs. This article was heavily ignored. Okay, P Legal Intel, I'm going to have to pull that article up and read it. I'm going to have to pull that article up and read it. So the article P Legal Intel is talking about, I have on the screen. Again, we don't want to deal in the United States of America. We just want to sit back and pontificate all doggone day long. And when something happens, we want to be reactionary. We don't really want to be proactive. Because if we were proactive as a nation, again, those laws, those slave laws, and what's considered those slave states, and in any state that is not considered a slave state, would still not be on books. The lynching bill just passed this year. Anti-lynching of Black people, that just passed this year. That would have passed a long time ago if we were not attempting to Band-Aid mass shootings and racism and white supremacism in the United States of America and white extremism in the United States of America. This stuff would have been dealt with a long time ago. But no, people want to put a Band-Aid on the situation and want to deal with it on the surface. We don't want to deal with it at the root. We don't want to deal with it at the root. Again, if we were really dealing with it at the root, reparations would have happened a long time ago. These laws would still not be on the books. And for anybody to sit up and say, Clarence Thomas and wife and friends and other Supreme Court justices and the like, hear me good, and the like, to sit up and say, oh no, it's non-existent. Oh no, we don't have racism in the United States of America. And what world do you live in? And people want to sit up and say, well, it's black on black crime. Well, thank you for informing that of us U.S. citizens of that, because it's white on white crime, it's Asian on Asian crime, it's Hispanic on Hispanic crime, it's other crime on other crime. But it still does not negate the fact that the United States has never dealt with racism. They have never dealt with white supremacy like they should have. They have continuously put a Band-Aid on the situation. And as long as we have a Band-Aid on this situation and never deal with it at the root, it's going to keep on happening. I'm going to just let the record show. History repeating itself. History repeating itself. Another mass murder in the United States of America. And I would concur with some of what was being said yesterday, that this is just downright evil. Again, you can shoot up an African American person on a traffic stop, police officers, but you can't take a mass murderer out, a white domestic terrorist out, after they have murdered and shot over 10 plus people. Stop playing. Disclaimer: this content is not for minors. Viewers' discretion is advised. Parental consent. We don't want to deal with this in the United States of America. We just want a Band-Aid. We just want Band-Aids. Our laws don't reflect in totality what they should reflect when it comes to everybody's lives mattering in the United States of America. We don't want a deal. We want a Band-Aid. Yeah, we want to keep putting a Band-Aid on the situation. Because if we really wanted to deal, we start in the White House, in the police departments, and get the supremists and the extremists up out of there. No. And the domestic terrorists up out of there. No. We don't want to deal in the United States of America. We want a Band-Aid. We would start at the White House with those lying, Looney Tune elected officials. Go to police departments, CIA, FBI, and the like. We don't want a deal. We want to keep putting a Band-Aid on the situation. That's why we continuously have these conversations, and history continuously repeats itself. We don't want to deal at the root. We want to come on the surface. And then you have odious people with their noses up in the air, holding their breath like it's non-existent. Let me say it again. And then we have some odious people in the United States of America holding their noses up in the air, holding their breath like it's non-existent. I don't want to hear from another lying Looney Tune full of lasciviousness that is supposed to be a leader coming from Congress, the House or the Senate. I don't care if it's a supposedly president. Period. I don't want to hear the foolishness. I don't want to hear the talking points. I want to see the actions with the results to follow. And so, U.S. citizens, you gonna keep voting for foolishness? So your elected official don't like black people. So your elected official think they supreme. So your elected official don't like women. So your elected official think black people, women, and every other ethnic group is inferior to them. You need to stop voting for them. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I'm gonna call a spade today. So your elected official ran out there and said a bunch of fluff and stuff, full of lies and hypocrisy. And all you have to do is go back and let the record show and watch the way they have voted for the last upteen number of years. Let me say it again. So your elected leaders think they're inferior to black people, to women, to any other ethnic group. They think they're superior and everybody else is inferior to them. And it shows up in the way that they vote, and you keep voting for them. Because some could be hoodwinked. They run out there with some fluff and stuff. But you see the way they vote. You can go back and let the record show. You see the legislation they draft. You can go back and let the record show. It's not hidden. It's out in the open, as plain as day. It's not being concealed. It's revealed. Okay. You right. Blinders and Bandaides. Blinders and Bandaides. Mm-hmm. Blinders and Bandaides. Okay. All right. And then you get lying Looney Tunes like Clarence Thomas, Kavanaugh, and others who are supposed to deal justly. But they wouldn't know how to deal justly if it slapped them across their face 10 times and drug them down the street. My perspective. Yeah. But they're supposed to be impartial. Impartiality. Okay. Yeah. They have the stomach to deal with blocking a woman's right to choose and a family's right to choose, but they don't have the stomach to deal with mass shootings in the United States of America and racism. Again, miss me with the hypocrisy and the hypocrites. Lying leadership. Lying leadership that display Looney Tune-like behavior and characteristics. Lying Looney Tune leadership full of lasciviousness and full of hate and hypocrisy. Yeah. Where the Supreme Court justices at now? Y'all want to run out and address this issue? Oh no, you'll hold your little stiff-necked up in the air with your noses all parched because you don't want to deal with racism. They just want a Band-Aid for it. Let me move on. Selah. Selah. Mass shootings in the United States of America every year, year after year after year after year. Targeted racism in the United States of America. And people want to act astonished. When we have a history of racism and slavery. And again, we haven't even dealt with racism on surface like we should have. We just put a Band-Aid on it. Because if the United States dealt with racism like they should have, again, reparations would have been had a long time ago, period. We still wouldn't have these slave laws on state books and in laws, period. We would have some competent laws to deal with those who dare to think that they are superior to anybody. The only superior race it is in the entire world is a human race, period. You either human or you not. The color of nobody's skin makes them superior. Superior to what? Superior how? Lying Looney Tunes. A bunch of weak wetbacks. And again, did the police forget how to shoot yesterday? In Buffalo, New York, the ones that was on active duty answering that call, did y'all forget how to shoot? Oh, okay. 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 Let's get to these Looney Tunes like Clarence Thomas. Let's get to this lion leadership.
The Supreme Court, the draft Alito opinion essentially challenges voters. It says, look, in effect, look, you can vote to get the result that you want on abortion rights by voting for new state legislators.
Yeah, but this is the same Supreme Court that said we're not going to outlaw partisan gerrymandering. So, you know, they'll say, all right, we're going to take away a right for the first time that's ever happened in American history, and we'll let the state legislatures decide that. Oh, yeah, by the way, in the Rucho decision, we decided that the federal courts would not have an ability to say that partisan gerrymandering was unconstitutional. So, you know, they want to have it every way that they can. I was struck by Justice Thomas when he said that people don't accept things that they don't like. And I think about the iteration of this court. Griswold was decided in the 60s. Bakke, the affirmative action case, was decided in the 70s. They're going to look at that. Roe was decided in the 70s. Apparently, they're going to look at that. Again, things that you don't like. His wife apparently didn't like the outcome of the presidential election, and she was engaged in activities to somehow subvert the will of the American people. So don't you lecture the American people about people not accepting outcomes that they don't like. That is what Clarence Thomas certainly has done in his professional life, certainly in conjunction with his wife, apparently. We'll let people investigate that. But this iteration of the Supreme Court is doing it. They're not doing things on the basis of legal interpretation. What we're seeing now in the change in the court's position is a function of personnel. And that is not how the American system is supposed to work.
Should Clarence Thomas recuse himself from any Supreme Court cases involving the communications of his wife or the presidential election generally, since his wife was a participant in it at the highest levels with the White House Chief of Staff?
Yes, that is a no-brainer.
I'm gonna let this play again. Because Eric Holder just hit a bunch of points in less than 5 minutes, and what he said was extremely low.
The draft Alito opinion essentially challenges voters. It says, look, in effect, look, you can vote to get the result that you want on abortion rights by voting for new state legislators.
Yeah, but this is the same Supreme Court that said we're not going to outlaw partisan gerrymandering. So they'll say, all right, we're going to take away a right for the first time that's ever happened in American history, and we'll let the state legislatures decide that. Oh yeah, by the way, in the Rucho decision, we decided that the federal courts would not have an ability to say that partisan gerrymandering was unconstitutional. So they want to have it every way that they can. I was struck by Justice Thomas when he said that people don't accept things that they don't like. And I think about the iteration of this court. Griswold was decided in the 60s. Bakke, the affirmative action case, was decided in the 70s. They're going to look at that. Roe was decided in the 70s. Apparently, they're going to look at that. Again, things that you don't like. His wife apparently didn't like the outcome of the presidential election, and she was engaged in activities to somehow subvert the will of the American people. So don't you lecture the American people about people not accepting outcomes that they don't like. That is what Clarence Thomas certainly has done in his professional life, certainly in conjunction with his wife, apparently. We'll let people investigate that. But this iteration of the Supreme Court is doing it. They're not doing things on the basis of legal interpretation. What we're seeing now in the change in the court's position is a function of personnel. And that is not how the American system is supposed to work.
Should Clarence Thomas recuse himself from any Supreme Court cases involving the communications of his wife or the presidential election generally, since his wife was a participant in it at the highest levels with the White House Chief of Staff?
He should be impeached.
Yes, that is a no-brainer.
Right along with others who should be impeached. Should be impeached. But you get a lying leadership, lying Looney Tunes, hypocritical lying Looney Tunes. They can stomach that, but they don't want to deal with racism. They can stomach this, but they don't want to deal with that. And we sit up here and we wonder, why is it a perpetuation of mass murders in the United States of America? Because America want to put a Band-Aid on certain situations and they don't want to deal at the root. They just want to smack a Band-Aid on some stuff and keep it moving. Let's put a Band-Aid on it and patch it up and we'll be okay. And then we may revisit it in the next few years. Let's just put a little Band-Aid on it and let's just patch that up. And then let's hold our noses and keep going. He should be impeached right along with Brett Kavanaugh, right along with some others who sat up there and lied under oath to get the seat. See, accountability, responsibility. People who are in leadership. Well, when it comes to accountability, start at the top. But America want to take a bottom-up approach when it comes to lawlessness in the United States of America. You want to go bottom up when it should be top down. Get the ones at the top first and work your way on down to everybody else. Lying Looney Tunes in leadership. Congress vacillating, capitulating, wavering, going back and forth, need to do their job. Do your doggone jobs. We sitting up here, the insurrection happened months ago. Why are we slow walking criminals to prison? Why? Why are we slow walking criminality over here in the United States of America? Oh, I get it, because you still got a sphere of people who think that they're superior. You still got a remnant of people who think they can do whatever they want to do. And they are above the law, that the law was never created for them, so they can do whatever they want to do. Okay. 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 And so you wonder why. Why is this happening in America? Why is this is not taboo. This ain't taboo. Go right back to slavery and walk it on up to today. This is not taboo. Go right back to the old ideology doing slavery and walk it on back up to today. It is not new. Let me say it again. Let me pull it back. Go right back to the old stank, demonic, diabolical, debauchery ideologies of slavery and walk it up till today. And you wonder, people wonder, what happened? Well, a little leaven leavened a whole lump. A little leaven leavened the whole lump. A little leavened leavened the whole lump.
The House committee investigating January 6th has taken the extraordinary step of issuing subpoenas to 5 sitting members of Congress. All 5 are Republicans, and all 5 had previously declined to voluntarily appear before the committee. But before we get to what might or might not come of these subpoenas, let's just take a moment to remind you of why the committee might be so interested in hearing from these lawmakers specifically. Arizona Congressman Andy Biggs was named by an organizer of the Stop the Steal movement as one of the 3 members of Congress who helped plan the rally on January 6th. And reportedly, he was part of a group who attended a December 21st meeting at the White House about overturning the election results. Oh, yeah, and he reportedly sought a preemptive pardon from Donald Trump in the aftermath of January 6th. And then there's Mo Brooks, who also helped plan the rally on January 6th, according to its organizer. He was also part of that same December meeting at the White House, and he actually spoke at Trump's rally on January 6th, while apparently wearing body armor.
Today is the day American patriots start taking down names and kicking ass.
The committee also subpoenaed Jim Jordan, who, yes, was also reportedly part of that same December meeting.
Here we go.
He also pushed the theory that Mike Pence could single-handedly overturn the election results. And he spoke with Trump on January 6th, though he can never quite seem to remember when or how many times.
On January 6th, did you speak with him before, during, or after the Capitol was attacked?
Lawlessness, leadership.
I'd have to go. I spoke with him that day after. I think after. I don't know if I spoke with him in the morning or not. I just don't know. I'd have to go back and. I mean, I don't know that when those conversations happened. But what I know is I spoke with him all the time.
You lying.
You would think something as momentous as January 6th would stick with Jim Jordan, but guess not.
Jim
so
Jordan,
let's
you
also
a
not
lie.
forget Congressman Scott Perry of Pennsylvania, who played a central role in Trump's plot to
Jim
oust
Jordan
the acting
was
attorney
lying.
general
We already
and
let the
replace
record
him
show
with his
that
own
one.
big lie backing yes man.
Sitting up there
And
lying.
last but not least, House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy. We know from recently released audio that McCarthy was thinking of asking Trump to resign after January 6th. McCarthy also reportedly urged Trump to call off his mob of supporters during a phone call
Another
on the
liar.
6th. To which Trump
Lying
apparently
Looney
replied,
Tunes and
well, Kevin,
leadership.
I guess these people are more upset about the election than you are. As I said, these subpoenas are an extraordinary step by the committee, but by themselves, they likely won't compel new testimony from these Trump allies. So what's the real goal for the committee? And what would the ultimate outcome be with these subpoenas? Joining me now is former RNC chairman and MSNBC political analyst Michael Steele. Michael, always a pleasure to spend time with you, so thank you for being with us today. You know, Michael, despite being lawmakers, and I'm emphasizing the law part of that word, it seems
Congress need to
highly
do their
unlikely that these Republicans
Simple.
are going to comply with their subpoenas.
Get some
So
backbone
what
and do
powers
their
do you
job.
think the January 6th committee could
Period.
flex to get GOP lawmakers to actually appear for at least those public hearings that are scheduled to begin in June?
Enforce the subpoenas. Have the marshals go pull them out of their homes, out of their offices, and bring their behinds before the committee. Enforce the subpoena. Look, Katie, if you or I have been subpoenaed and we say, like, no, I'm not showing up, guess what they would do?
Thank you.
You know, I don't know where, you know, everyone tells us no one is above the law.
Thank you.
Well, apparently, unless you're a United States congressman and decide that you don't want to do what you are compelled to do by the subpoena. So if you don't show up, there are enforcement mechanisms, there are penalties that can be applied. Just because you're a United States congressman does not absolve you or excuse you from accountability. That's the problem we have in this country right now. No one is held accountable for anything. And the American people look at this, and if you want to get on a pathway to lawlessness and authoritarianism, this is the path you need to be on.
Bandaides.
So enforce the damn
That's
subpoenas.
right.
That's number one. Number two, everybody needs to understand what the end game objective is here. They're going to stall. They're going to procrastinate. They're going to continue to lie. They're going to obfuscate. Why? Because the expectation is come November, Katie, we get the power back. We flip the script and we come after Democrats. We own the libs at that point.
Thank you.
Guess what they're going to do? Subpoena the hell out of Democrats.
Because
and
they
they're going to
think
enforce
they
them.
feel
Trust me,
supreme.
They will haul
Quit
Democrats before their committees. So understand what the end game is here and do what you need to do, even if you wind up losing the House in November. Between now and then, you can clarify for the American people what happened, who was exactly involved, and what the consequences should be for them because of their involvement.
So, Michael, let's stay on this for a minute, because I agree with you that enforcement of subpoenas has to happen. I am a law and order lawyer. I am a law and order person. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. But let's be very specific here. There are inherent contempt powers that this select committee has. And when you say enforce
Congress,
those
do
subpoenas,
your
you
job,
can literally send
period.
the marshal to the home of Kevin McCarthy and haul him before that committee, inclusive of having him sit in custody until he actually testifies. I mean, is that what you're proposing should happen in this case? And is there a fear that that tit for tat's going to happen in the event we lose the House in November?
We can't govern in that space, Katie. The law is the law. I mean, where do you draw the
That's
line?
what I know
You're a
should
member
happen.
of Congress. You're the former president. I'm sorry. You can commit all
Dang
kinds
that,
of
do your
unspeakable
job.
crimes, but because we're afraid of a tit for tat or somehow upsetting the political equilibrium, we're not going to hold you accountable? When you say to us, look, I got your subpoena and I'm going to crap all over it. It means nothing to me because I think, in the words of Kevin McCarthy, your committee is illegitimate. Well, dude, it was put together under the rules of the Congress. I can't help it if you don't like the rules and you don't like the composition of the committee, which you had a chance, by the way, to play a role in shaping, that you now deem it illegitimate. I'm sorry, what if American citizens, when they get their next subpoena or to appear somewhere, go, you know what? I don't recognize the legitimacy of that power. I don't think that court has the authority to call me. I don't think that prosecutor has the authority to call me. I think they're illegitimate. Really?
Well, you know,
That's
Michael,
the road we want to go down? I don't think so.
Yeah, and you know what, Michael, it's gone to court, right? So that argument that they've played, which is this idea that that committee is illegitimate as it sits, has been tested in courts and has been ruled to be a legitimate purpose. The mission and purpose of the 1-6 committee is legitimate. And it also reminds me of this idea that I don't feel like paying taxes, so I'm just not going to pay taxes because I don't recognize the IRS. So, Michael, there are also reports, though, and I need to know what you think about this, that the 1-6 committee sees this as a win-win scenario. As Hugo Lowell of The Guardian is reporting, they think that the way that this is happening is if we get this, enforcement of the subpoenas, then they're going to show up. But if they don't actually comply and they don't show up, then we can use it against them in the November midterms. Is that a decent analysis, in your opinion?
From a purely political standpoint, yeah, I put my, my politician's hat on. I'm like, okay, tit for tat. I get it. You come after me, I'm going to come back after you. But this is serious. This is about how we govern ourselves as a nation in the face of such an atrocity as an attempted overthrow of a duly, constituted process. And I just think that we need to be careful. We need leaders to step up and not play the politics. We need the American people to trust the system and the outcome produced by that system. And I think if you go down this slippery slope of, they'll do it to us and we're going to do it to them, and we go back and forth, this is not a playground. And there are consequences. There are real consequences here. And I just think we need to be very astute about that. And I think to the extent that the January 6th committee, again, getting back to the first point, is serious about enforcing those subpoenas and making it very clear to the American people why Kevin McCarthy is sitting in custody, right? Make it very clear to the American people why Jim Jordan is being, hauled out of his home or out of his congressional office. Then we have a better understanding of the
Some
consequences.
of us already understand.
All of us will take to heart that there are consequences when you try to overthrow the government. Because guess what? They get the power back. The American people give them the power back. Here's the question for you, America. What the hell do you think is going to happen next year? What do you think next year looks like with Kevin McCarthy and Jim Jordan now running things in the House? So this is the moment. You either step into it or you run away from it.
Well, they may be running right into a cell. Okay, so Michael, let's shift gears for just a second here. There are new reports that federal prosecutors have opened a grand jury investigation into whether classified White House documents that ended up in Mar-a-Lago after Trump left office were mishandled. Now, on one hand, sure, look into that. But I'm a little frustrated that this is what we're getting from the DOJ so far. Them looking into whether or not there's been mishandled classified documents versus more of an investigation pursuing Donald Trump and his allies' role in January 6th. Still no indictment for Mark Meadows. Tick-tock, tick-tock. It's been months. Scavino. The list goes on and on. What's your take on the fact that we actually have some public knowledge about the document mishandling, but we don't have anything else coming from the DOJ?
Yeah, this DOJ, Merrick Garland is an interesting choice for this job. You would think, Merrick Garland is, in my view, the kind of guy you put in place when, you just do every day, right? It's just everyday business. And there's nothing too exciting. You just kind of roll. You have some white collar crime here and an occasional politician who messes up over there. You need someone with a higher degree of tenacity, in my view, who's unafraid to use the authority and the power within the department to ferret out the wrongdoing that is clearly before the American people. I get it. I get the cautiousness. The department is typically cautious because they want to make sure that they have what they need to pursue a prosecution. I know that as lawyers. But there's also the other side of this that says, how much more evidence do you need? How much smoke does the gun have to produce before you actually take a step that leans in that direction? They're on a clock that is, I think, could wind up hurting the ultimate aims and goals of the commission. that will wind up going well past the November elections, in which case, under a new regime controlled by Republicans, that just becomes more of a hot mess. So I'd like to see more, at least some energy behind pursuing this evidence at this point.
We don't have time for that.
Well, Michael Steele, maybe they should have put you in charge of that 1-6 committee and maybe Attorney General of the United States. Michael Steele, always a pleasure. Thank you for being with me.
Thanks, Gary.
Okay. He had his perspective on Mayor Garland. That's fine and dandy. But Jeff Sessions in the pumpkin with a wig that I barred, I refer to him as a pumpkin with a wig. They doggone show enough wouldn't be doing nothing but codifying that Republican mess that's taking place, those atrocities, period. So we wonder, mass shootings, why do they continuously happen? Well, you get lying leadership who act like a bunch of Looney Tunes full of lasciviousness. That means they have no self-control, no restraint, hypocritical. That's why we ain't getting nowhere. You got a group of extreme supremacists. That remnant is still here. They still got a stronghold and a foothold in Congress, in the House, and in the Senate. We never dealt with anything like racism from the root. We smacked the Band-Aid on it as a nation. Held noses and said, let's move on. There's nothing else to see here. Nothing else to see here. Let's move on. Because had it been anybody else attempting to say, we're just going to sit down and not, show up. We've been subpoenaed by Congress. Excuse me, Congress, do your job. You have more authority than the president. If you enforce it, stop playing. Do your jobs. Enforce the subpoenas. Period. Enforce them. Do your jobs. And people sitting up here pontificating and vacillating back and forth. Why is the United States wavering at this point in time in history? Because they don't want to deal with nothing. They want to slap a Band-Aid on everything. When it comes to certain issues, let's put a Band-Aid and patch it up. And then when you patch something up instead of fixing it, the hole in the wound gets deeper. Stop playing. Then you get some unstable, U.S. citizens running around talking about some rah, rah, rah. Ha, ha, ha. We're going to overthrow the government. Then you get Jim Jordan. I don't remember whether I talked to Trump. I don't remember. And he was talking to Trump before it happened. Stop playing. We're going to let the record show. The record didn't already show. Okay? Lying. A lying Looney Tune. Period. A lying, elected, lawless Looney Tune. Representing people. U.S. citizens. Are you kidding me? McCarthy. Excuse me. Again, these people think they are above the law. Congress, do your job. There's no way in the world, if I was in the House or the Senate, that I would let my coworker, a counterpart, sit up there, be lawless, and then say they ain't gonna answer no subpoena. Okay. You ain't gonna answer no subpoena? All right. Come to work if you want to. Let me be part of Congress. I guarantee you I would do my job. Listen, you can voluntarily come or you can involuntarily come, which way you want to roll. But I guarantee you, if I was an elected official at this point in time, some butt sides would be cuffed up in that White House. They sure would. Soon as you hit the premises. Period. So, United States, we got mass shootings. We got supremacists, terrorists, extremists targeting Black people. But United States never dealt with racism. They put a Band-Aid on it. You can tell by the laws we have over here. You can tell by the police constantly killing Black people. You can tell by the way some Congress people are still acting with their racist selves. Some of them still racist. That we never dealt. Because I guarantee you, if any white supremacist or extremist knew, or anybody knew, okay, you want to kill somebody that way, the same way you took their life is the same way your life getting ready to be taken. If we had those laws on the books, they would stand the heck down. Okay, you want to go in there and shoot somebody with a semi-automatic? Well, guess what? You'll be restrained, and just as many bullets as you delved out while they were living, we'll deal them right back out to you. We'll rid of your body with the same amount of bullets. Okay? I guarantee you that will minimize that foolishness. If the police lost their immunity, that would minimize that foolishness. If prosecutors who want to sit up and bring bogus charges against U.S. citizens will lose their immunities, turn around and get their backside sued, that would minimize their foolishness too. But the United States, we don't want to deal with mass shootings. We don't want to deal with racism. We want to continuously put Band-Aids on a situation and act like it's non-existent and act like, oh, that was back then, this is now. And we looking at laws on books. That was back then and still is on books now. Quit playing. Racist laws. Okay. All right. Yeah, Supreme Court. My perspective is, if you watched, you already know where I'm at when it comes to Supreme Court. You don't need to serve no more than 8 years, period. They need a code of conduct to follow because they don't have one. Supreme Court in the United States of America, the highest court in the land of justices, they don't have a code of conduct or code of ethics to follow. That's why they up there doing whatever they want to do. No oversight. Okay. No oversight. So they in there running amok. again, as I get ready to conclude, we want to put Band-Aids on everything. We don't want to deal. And some people don't want to hear the truth because they would be forced to look at themselves in a mirror. Period. This nation don't want to hear the truth in its entirety as a nation overall, holistically, everybody, because we'd be forced to look at the ugly truth. The ugly, racist, hypocritical, diabolical, stench to high heaven truths. We need to stay actively engaged. It can be mind baffling if you allow it to be, for lying Looney Tune leadership to be lawless and for U.S. citizens to pay their salaries. Yeah. It can be mind boggling if you let it. For lying Looney Tunes that are lawless to be in leadership, being paid by the American taxpayers who think they're above the law. We need to stay actively engaged. And as a people, we need not ever think that we don't have the power, because we do. Our Constitution says we have a right to petition, and we have a right to ask for redress. Period. We have a right to petition, protest, and ask for redress. Period. And American people pay salaries over here. You pay their salaries. We be the people that pay their salaries. Okay? If they're supposed to work for us, when they don't work for you, when you don't do your job, you're not being a productive worker on a job where you are employed by someone else, and they are being fair and just, and you're being cavalier, nonchalant, and downright foolish and non-productive on your job, what's going to happen? 9 times out of 10, you're going to get terminated. Well, we as U.S. citizens, listen, you elected them, you have a right to recall them up out of there. You elected, recall. The House and the Senate, recall them on up out of there. That's called termination. Get them up out of there. Fire them. Let them go. When it comes to federal judges, Congress need to do their job, and other judges need to do their job, because that's called impeachment. Congress bring the articles of impeachment. Other judges bring the articles of impeachment and get them up out of there. That's right. So we need to stay actively engaged. Another thing, if not us, who? If not now, when? If not here, where? And if not you and I, who? Who gonna do the work if we don't do the work? Who? Things don't happen automatically. I know some people think, oh, whatever will be, say rah, say rah. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. No. Things don't just happen automatically. Yeah. We have to participate. So we have to stay actively engaged. And people, remember to vote. Stay actively engaged. Remember to vote. Remember, we still have the power, whether we think we do, realize we do, recognize we do, or not. We do. If you want to deceive somebody, you make them think that they don't possess something that they do possess psychologically, and you got them. And we as a nation had to face the reality of the situation and deal with this doggone racism and racist history and ideology over here in the United States of America. For real, and stop putting a Band-Aid on everything. Now, having said that, remember this, everybody. We can look up, we can get up. If we can get up, we can go up. And condolences again for all of the families who have experienced mass shootings this year, especially the families, the more recent ones from yesterday and today, the shooting that took place today at the church. One person was confirmed dead. 5 other people were confirmed injured. But yesterday, condolences and prayers for those families. You all have a pleasant evening and a pleasant night. Voting in every election matters. That's absolutely right, Leroy. Remember to stay vigilant. You all have a pleasant evening and a pleasant night. Thanks for streaming, everybody. Stay vigilant, stay actively engaged. Bye-bye. And stay safe.